Yo, what's up? The other day I was on the A Lot About Nothing podcast, just catching up with the homies and telling what I've been up to. Album. If you want to check it out, it's on YouTube and all major streaming platforms. I also wanted to show love to this comment because I thought what they said was really nice, so I appreciate that. Today we're making a track like Pi'erre Bourne. Jordan Jenks, also known as Pi'erre Bourne, is a rapper and producer hailing from a lot of places. Known for his production of many hit songs, his memorable producer tag, and probably the ugliest laugh known to man. Pi'erre was put onto a lot of hip-hop from his uncle, who was a rapper, and Pi'erre started writing his own raps when he was 11. Although his raps weren't very good, his uncle still encouraged him to make music, and let Pi'erre use his laptop with a copy of FL Studio on it. He used that same laptop to make his mixtape while he was in high school.
Yo girl wanna be with me, yo, one stack tryna keep it G. Yo, wife.
After graduating high school, Pi'erre went to school in Atlanta for sound engineering, and after finishing that, he got a full-time job as a sound engineer for Epic Records. But things weren't as great as he had hoped. Being stuck as an engineer meant that he could only work on other people's music, which created a bit of a dilemma for him, having to choose between making the music he wants or making the songs that'll pay his bills, which I totally understand. After about a year, he left that job to fully pursue his own music career. By 2016, he was producing songs for artists he met during studio sessions, like Young Nudy and Trippie Red, and had his breakout moment the following year, producing Playboi Carti's hit song, Magnolia. Since then, he's been balls deep in the music industry, producing for damn near everyone while also releasing the Life of Pi'erre mixtapes, finally allowing himself to make the music he wants to make. Pi'erre Bourne has made himself a household name in the hip-hop scene, and in a way changed the landscape of modern hip-hop beats. And when you hear that tag, you know you're gonna hear something special. Pi'erre Bourne was a breath of fresh air compared to the dark and moody trap beats in the mid-2010s. His melodies still have that familiar, spacey, and airy quality to it, but he tends to make it a little more uplifting and energetic. The typical instruments he uses in his beats are classic basic synths and sometimes some quick-sounding percussion synths. His melodies sound like I'm floating in a nostalgic video game soundtrack. For my track, I used this preset from Xpand because it sounded nice and fuzzy, and I literally banged on my keyboard until I made this melody. Sounded good, right? That's what happens when you practice with Melodics. This video is sponsored by Melodics. Melodics is a desktop app that teaches you how to play the piano. All you need is a MIDI keyboard. Melodics covers everything from the basics of piano like finger placement and chords to some of the more complex technical exercises. And everything's organized so you can improve exactly where you want to. Melodics keeps track of your accuracy and timing when you play, and gives feedback on what you need to work on. It makes learning the piano pretty fun and intuitive. The courses are also designed with different genres in mind, ranging from hip-hop, future bass, and everything in between. And all of the knowledge you gain from Melodics can be used outside of the app, like working on your own music, jamming out in a studio session, or even performing live. If you want the app, there's a link in the description, it's free to download. Another type of sound that Pi'erre likes to use are these sliding synth melodies that make you feel like you're ascending. I'm using this free plugin called Alieno. This preset is called String Theory. Here's what it sounds like. Nothing crazy on the effects, just some EQ, sound goodizer, reverb, and whiter. Lastly, I used this E-piano preset in Synth 1 to make this simple counter melody, similar to something you would hear in a Playboi Carti song. The drums are pretty simple. It's just some steady hi-hats, a few percussion sounds, and a clap. And lastly, I made these two 808 patterns. The 808 has that loud, thumpy quality to it that's a staple in Pi'erre Bourne or plug style beats. Another thing that makes his song so unique is, of course, his producer tag. It actually came from an episode of The Jamie Foxx Show.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
Now listen, I'm not a fan of taking other people's producer tags, so I'm just gonna use a little door squeak at the end. Pi'erre Bourne usually raps about coming up from his struggle, working hard, and really reaping the fruits of his labor. He's also a bit of a hopeless romantic, often talking about women he's seeing or wants to see. Sometimes he even throws in a couple of references to video games or consoles, so I'm gonna do that on my track. He's typically a melodic rapper, using pretty steady and catchy melodies to guide his flow, which means I had to use autotune for my track. For my track, I ended up using Pi'erre for the auto-tuning, and I recorded my verses with it. I also used Newtone to manually snap a few notes into the right key. And after that, I used Waves Tune Real Time to kinda smooth out the vocals some more. It took a lot of time and a lot of takes for me to get it right, but I'm happy with the outcome. Real talk. Pi'erre Bourne is already considered to be an amazing producer by many people, but I do think he's a bit slept on as an artist. I went back and listened to a few of his Life of Pi'erre projects, and they're pretty enjoyable. They set a cool vibe and they really show his true vision. I'm also a big fan of his work philosophy. He often talks about how making connections is way more important than just making beats, and genuinely being a good person can take you pretty far.
Honestly, I've just tried to be a good person, man. Really, that shit takes you a long way. You never know who likes you and tell somebody else that you're a great person. It could be deeper than just having some good music. That shit takes you a long way.
On the road, catching feelings, catching flights. Taking off in the whip, out of sight. Baby girl, I get you anything you like. If I'm wrong, then I ain't never being right. On the road, catching feelings, catching flights. Taking off in the whip, out of sight. Baby girl, I get you anything you like. If I'm wrong, then I ain't never being right. Whoa, shit, real love, no counterfeit. Might buy your ass a gift. Out in Tokyo, we drift. Icy on my wrist, pink diamonds on my chick. I'm like Wayne, I'm steady mobbing. I'm like Kanye with the click. She playing with my heart, she tried to play me like Atari. Little did she know that I'm a playboy just like Carti. Going off the deep end, feeling like the Hardys. Said I broke her heart, I told her sorry, I'm not sorry. I be moving supersonic, you can be my Amy. Hellcat tail spinning, got me going crazy. Got a couple knuckles for a nigga tryna play me. I got all my emeralds and my diamonds looking wavy. On the road, catching feelings, catching flights. Taking off in the whip, out of sight. Baby girl, I get you anything you like. If I'm wrong, then I ain't never being right. On the road, catching